In Tampa, Florida, 4 criminals broke into a store. They stole iPads, cigarettes, gaming consoles. These criminals were not discouraged by the locked doors, electronic access control, and even the security cameras. As you can see in the video that's playing, they brought a commercial concrete saw to cut through the latch on the door. And, well, the maglock slowed them down, but even with enough force, even a maglock can be breached.
Suspects are armed with a handgun. They're described as 3 male Caucasians, all wearing white shirts.
The EU has provided a solution for this problem for quite a while now in the form of fogging security systems. What is a fogging security system, you might ask? Well, simply put, it is a system that is triggered by an alarm system, a motion detector, or some other form that produces a large amount of fog extremely fast, basically making it impossible to see what you are trying to see or steal or where you're going. Well, recently in the United States, some companies have brought a lineup of products that cover everything from very small spaces all the way up to like large warehouses, aircraft hangars. They claim that these systems can fill the space with fog that creates a near zero visibility environment. It's supposed to be safe for electronics, pets, I mentioned humans, and it's safe for the space that you're in, right? So it's not going to destroy the paint or books or anything like that. Apparently the smoke lasts for about an hour and then begins to dissipate. These systems can be standalone or integrated with other existing security systems, which is pretty cool. So think you have an existing alarm system. Well, if an intruder, breaks open a door or a window, your existing alarm system can trigger the smoke system to fill the room with smoke. They can also be controlled remotely. So they could only go off if a remote monitoring center sees that there's an active robbery in progress and triggers the smoke to activate that way. What do you think about a system like this? Is this something that you would use or support, or what's your kind of thoughts on this?
Yeah, of course. Anything that helps the client secure their property, I'm always a fan of. We don't work for the burglar.
Right.
We work for the other guys. I'm a fan of them having guns, lasers, whatever it takes to secure their property or the people on their property, absolutely, including a fog machine.
Yeah.
What's the reason for the fog machine not being allowed in the US?
It's kind of more per state. So like Maryland has something that specifically says you're not allowed to use these. Washington, D.C. though, when I looked into it, they didn't have anything that said you couldn't use them. In Los Angeles, California, oddly enough, they're allowed to use them there.
We had a client, a potential client, their business was a private vaults, basically private safety deposit boxes. One of the ways they wanted to protect their property was more than just reactionary. They wanted to, like letting police know or letting an alarm center know. They wanted something that would actually fight back a bit. And we threw around some ideas, including the fog machine and including something like cutting off the lights and having like strobe lights and really loud sounds. One of the problems, if you just cut out lights and make it dark, in theory, someone can bring a flashlight or use night vision. But if you're doing it dark and you have the strobe lights, a flashlight's not gonna help you, and the night vision's not gonna help you. It's just gonna be very disorienting if it's like a club in there, and it's also extremely loud. It's gonna be hard to communicate. The one downside to that, as well as the fog, is that security cameras won't be able to see anything either.
I had that exact thought. And then a little brain of mine started thinking, I was like, well, if you want to invest a little bit more, you can go thermal. So when the fog is activated and the whole place is filled with fog,
right?
You could have thermal cameras so you could see what was going on. Thermal cameras aren't going to provide that super crisp level of detail that other cameras might, but at least you could see kind of what was going on.
Will they definitely work through the fog?
Well, yeah, because thermals are based on heat. A fog from a machine like this is probably going to come out more cool. Based on the ingredients they're using, which is like glycol and something else, it's almost, think of, everyone going around hitting the vapes. It's basically like just filling it with a, super dank vape cloud. So maybe you could get them flavored, so it's super fun when the criminals break in. Yeah.
Sometimes you really just want to protect whatever is at the property, and that may be a better solution. Of course, as soon as that is done, do you have to do anything to reset and refill these units?
It's a great question. At least the ones I've looked into, you can get They're like cartridge canisters. So you know those little like mister things that put out like the air wicks that put out
Sure.
the scented, it's kind of something like that. You basically open a hatch, stick a new one in, close it, you're good to go. In America, everyone loves to sue for anything. Even the criminals, it seems, can break into your house, cut themselves on your window that they just broke, and still sue you and win. Do you see an issue with running a system like a fog system?
Oh, for sure. One liability would be on the part of the company that provides the system itself. Like if we're providing a system like that as a security company to a client and we install it wrong or it malfunctions and the client, let's say it's a store or a warehouse and you have workers in there and now they're all fogged up and then they're getting hurt, injuring themselves in some way, they're going to not necessarily sue us, but they would probably want our professional insurance to cover their losses.
That's their injuries.
Really good point. And so you wouldn't want that.
I was thinking about that because with a system like this, so say you put it in somewhere, you'd probably only want to put it in a building that, say you have an electronics store and you close at 7 p.m. or whatever, you probably only want that fog system to activate when everyone's gone and there's no employees in the building. And it would only go off if criminals came in the building, because the worst thing, like you said, would be as if you have employees in the building and you just fogged everybody out.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other thing that can happen is that the security company or whoever is installing it, I assume a security company of some kind, they do it just fine, it works just fine, but the client makes a mistake. Maybe a worker arms the system, someone forgets about it, doesn't disarm the system, and they go back in. I'm not sure. They do something and they accidentally set the system off. I mean, this happens. Like sometimes people accidentally set off a fire alarm or a sprinkler system. There's definitely room for issues. And my guess is that those are going to be linked to an alarm system. So if the alarm goes off, out comes the smoke. And so you need to make sure that it's very clear how your alarm system is functioning so that this doesn't accidentally happen.
Have you ever seen those pictures of the aircraft hangars? You know, they have these like foam fire suppression systems. Have you seen the ones where somebody accidentally set it off so the whole hangar is like filled up to the top of the plane with foam?
I've heard of it. I haven't watched it. The big issue is, like, of course you want it to only go off when no one's there, but the question is, to an electronic system, what does that mean? To a human, we say, oh, well, when we look around and literally no one's here. But to an electronic system, that's not how it works. It has to be told nobody is here. And to an alarm system, the way that works is you say arm. And it says, okay, so my motion sensors haven't seen anybody. I guess no one's here. And then it goes ahead and arms.
I know that vapes, if this is using the same material as vapes, let's kind of treat it like that. Vapes, if you blow into a smoke detector, will set off a smoke detector.
Oh man, so you're setting off a fire alarm system with this thing.
At least the at-home ones. So there is a potential here, based on my research, I didn't see anything about this, but there is a potential that when your alarm system sets off all this smoke, you probably simultaneously also set off the fire alarm system.
Which means that the fire trucks are showing up. So you got fire and you got police and the whole thing there, maybe some SWAT.
We see all the time, people can have a camera system, an alarm system, they still break in, the determined ones, right? Like we saw in the video in the beginning of this podcast. You know, they brought a huge saw, they cut in, they ripped the mag lock off, right? So they were very determined to get in. Say, for instance, a smoke or a fog system filled that whole store with smoke. Do you think they would have continued doing it, or?
I'd like to see them try.
Yeah.
And if they left the doors propped open, would the vape juice get out of the building? Or
the vape juice. They claim that it should stay around for about 45 minutes to an hour.
So what you want to do is set off the alarm, the smoke comes out, and then you go take like a break, go get some coffee, come back in about 45 minutes, an hour, and do the actual robbery.
Well, by that time, there's going to be police and everything else.
So if you enjoyed this video, like it so we know, but also share it so your friends know.
That's right. Bye.